So we are waiting for Krishna, but he might be will get delayed to join the session. Okay, okay. So just I think 1 minute more, then probably we'll.
Hi Abhinav, how are you, brother?
Yeah, hi Nikhil. Good to see you. Good to see Vidyasagar as well after a long time, I think, right? Almost a
Yes,
year.
yes, indeed.
Yeah. And there's Ganesh as well. So a lot of familiar faces. Yeah. It's like meeting in the campus itself. Right?
True.
Yeah, yeah.
I see that there is only the bigger and the larger aspect of this time's Lok Sabha election, 2024 Lok Sabha election, is very clear. Either way, you are with Modi or against Modi. I think that's set very clearly. And there is, at least this time, unlike 2019, this time at least there is space of the India alliance around BJP, against BJP. Whereas last time you did not have that kind of a strength there against Modi. So this time it is just Modi versus the rest of India, I think. And that is very clear even with the BJP's propaganda, which I feel is not good for a democracy like ours. Because you always need to have an alternative voice which is more powerful than one person controlling the whole narrative, including a powerful position like a president or a vice president, who have almost become, non-functional. So India is not a democracy like that. That is, I think, the clear message here. Yeah.
Thank you, Tejaswini. And I'll request my panelists, if possible, for them. So please unmute their videos. That will be more, organic discussion we can have. So and now moving to Abhinav. Abhinav, for you, what do you think about these binaries? So what? Yeah.
Yes. So I think you are right that it's important to look at elections, especially Indian elections, by going beyond a binarized understanding that maybe stops short at maybe looking at the elections by merely framing it as a BJP versus Congress contest or a Hindu-Muslim polarization, just like that. I was asked to speak on the Northeast, so let me begin with just one example about how the Muslim voters make their political choices inside Assam. Now, if you look at Assam, and specifically from the Muslim voters' point of view, they have the choice of voting either for the Congress or for the AIUDF. But then the dynamic that drives Muslim voters is that when it is like a larger election, when they know that the stakes are high, generally Muslim consolidation takes place behind the Congress, because the Congress is one of those parties which has the capacity to form a government at the center, while AIUDF is a small-time regional party that at the most can be a minor player and can only have a minor stake even in the opposition, or at best at the treasury. It can only have a minor stake in government. So, and what happens is that the way Muslim voters behave, that also triggers or has the potential of triggering a counter consolidation of the Hindus. Because if you look at Assam in 2021, what happened was that the Congress and the AIUDF went into an alliance. Now, the moment you enter into an alliance, the BJP actually presented the alliance as an alliance to safeguard illegal immigrants, because the idea is that illegal immigrants are predominantly Muslims. Now, which is, of course, a completely unfounded idea, because Bengali Hindus or even other members from the other communities have also come over from erstwhile East Pakistan over the years. But like going back to what you're saying, so what happened in 2021, therefore, was that when the Congress and the AIDF was in an alliance, it allowed for the BJP to consolidate Hindu voters on their side. But comparatively, if you look at the kind of politics and the election season in Assam this time, because the Congress and the AIDF have not actually tied up, they have joined hands in the electoral contest. As a result, it did not allow the BJP to make an issue out of such kind of an alliance that they are trying to consolidate Muslim votes. So as a result, what has happened is that we see that Hindu consolidation to the amount that BJP would have wanted has not taken place. Of course, that does not, I should not be suggesting that it pushes the BJP in any kind of a weaker position right now. But at least at the level of discourse, we have seen an election which has been relatively free from a very unpleasant and a toxic communal narrative. And that is because of the way binaries form, or at least the way political parties form or not form alliances. It also has an effect on whether you allow your opponents to create a binary or not create a binary, right?
Thank you, Abhinav. I think it's quite important point you highlighted about the looking this, especially you look at the Northeast politics, quite different as compared to the Central Indian politics or North Indian politics, but because the notion of ethnicity is quite rooted there when it comes to elections there. So we'll come to that point later. But let me ask Ravi. Ravi, you are right now doing a quite a vast experience on ground, being part of the Jan Suraaj Yatra, and Prashant Kishore, the quite different dynamic person who, changing the whole narratives of Indian election, and also the putting a different layers in Indian election about the Gandhi and other different ideology on the center. So how do you see these binaries, both ideological binaries, when it comes to Jan Suraj and your own experience?
Jan Suraj is a great initiative. We have started in Prashant has started in Bihar. It's you can call it a more of an experiment in the political communication that what we are conveying to the people. In Jan Suraj, when you meet the people on ground, they will complain about their political representatives that they have cheated us once, thrice. Then we ask the questions. The communication is in the way that we are asking them that how many times a person can cheat you? Once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times. We have seen a constituency with very minimum facilities or the development, but still MLA is winning for 5 times there. I have seen a village in Bihar where in West Champaran, it's called Betia, where I haven't seen that village was without any young working male. The entire village was deprived of any working age male. It was just women, children, and old persons. So why? Because all of them has migrated to different cities of different parts of India for searching their job and working. So what Bihar seems on the papers, on data, it's much more. The situation is much more worse than actually it is. So we are talking to the people about that. You are not choosing the right issues to vote. For example, we were talking about like Prime Minister Modi came to Motihari and he said in 2014 that जब शुगर मिल का चालू हो जाएगा और यहाँ के चीनी से हम चाय पियेंगे तभी दोबारा वोट मांगने आएंगे. That sugar factory is still closed, defunct, and people of Motihari voted for next 3 elections for him. In fact, 14, 15, then 19 and 20. In fact, 4 elections, and this also. But that mill is still defunct. So we are talking to people that if you are not working, if you're not voting, if you're not voicing for your own children, for your own needs, when we'll vote for 500 rupees or some murga bhat, so it's some sort of like investment for the political parties or politicians. They will take it back. And in the same on the same side, there is a lack of alternative also. So Jan Suraj is trying to prepare an alternative, picking the people from ground. The approach is it's bottom up. It's not like the top down approach where a person comes to a capital city and announces his party and sends some people to the district. We are picking from the very like panchayat. We are studying the panchayat samiti, the block, the district, and then we will announce the state, the last. and all those will be chosen through the internal internal elections. This is about the Jansuraj and the experiment. And one more thing I would like to add for this ongoing elections, that one thing is very clear, that it's all the election is like Tejaswini said, Modi versus or BJP versus India Alliance or ND versus India Alliance. The one thing I feel that situation is like that, it's the weakening the concept of representative politics, the representative democracy in India. It's not like we are choosing the our constitution has imagined or given the made a system where we are choosing the MPs and MPs are choosing the prime ministers, their leaders. But in the system, we find that the entire country is voting like it is voting for Rahul Gandhi or it is voting for Narendra Modi. So this thing is making this in the favor of the top leaderships, and the people of India are losing their power by concentrating all of the power to some the individual leadership. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. Yeah, we will come to this Jansuraj particularly because as you mentioned that Prashant Kishore and this whole idea of Jansuraj is somehow changing the whole imagination of election, when especially for Bihar, because in Bihar the caste narrative is so deeply rooted that there is nothing exists beyond those binary of caste politics. So we'll come to that, but let me ask this question to Krishna Mohan. Krishna Mohan, you were writing on the subaltern politics since long time, and recently I was reading your piece on the print, and particularly I'm going to ask you this question of looking this role of subaltern politics and subaltern parties who are somehow seems quite behind when it comes to Lok Sabha election 2024. So we don't know where we can position BSP or other regional allies who are based on the certain caste identity, because they seems quite invisible or not as strong as they used to be earlier, especially when it comes to national election. So where do you see this caste, especially the subaltern parties or especially caste-based parties in this whole binaries of NDA or India or Congress versus BJP? So how do you frame this binaries with reference to Dalit politics or subaltern politics in India?
Hello. Basically, this election is totally going on symbolic politics going on. Basically, when we see the first debate in August 23, then there is one alliance formed newly of 18 parties, India. So framing India of the name alliance of that, this is a symbolism, but they even not incorporated in that alliance of all political parties. When you see the Maharashtra, you talking about to save democracy and save constitution, and grandson of Dr. Ambedkar, Prakash Ambedkar, and you not fail to give him space in the party. So how can you able to say that we are going to save the constitution of Dr. Ambedkar? Even you are not given proper space to one prominent family who framed the constitution and country. Even this party is contesting, Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi of him party is contesting on the all six Maharashtra. When we talking about BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party in that state, Dalit Ramdas Athavale just was the member of the Dalit Panther Party in the past. Republican Party of India, he is representing right now. He is the Rajya Sabha member from the BJP side and also the minister. So look at the working style of the Bharatiya Janata Party and look at the working style of Congress. Congress talking about the Ambedkar and Constitution, here to give space to Prakash Ambedkar. But Bharatiya Janata Party, one Dalit leader of that state who just was a member of the Dalit Panther and given space, sent to Rajya Sabha. He has not enough MLA and sent to Rajya Sabha and also incorporating the ministry. So this is the difference. One thing I also saying that what's going on, either Bharatiya Janata Party or either Congress, both are not serious about the public policy. who really will do welfare about the common citizens. What happened on 26 after 26 January? Before 26 January, they given Bharat Ratna Kapuri Thakur. So Kapuri Thakur come from the extremely backward caste from Bihar. So when caste census report released on 2 October 2023 on Gandhi Jayanti, there is revealed that the extremely backward caste is higher population compared to the upper OBC. 24% is upper OBC and 36% is 13% is higher. And this is the situation in almost all of the India. What happened after that? Incorporated Bharatiya Janata Party given Bharat Ratna to Kapuri Thakur. So this is a symbolic politics by the Bharatiya Janata Party, but failed to provide reservation and categorically increase the reservation and divide it to OBC. They are in the majority in the center, in the Rajya Sabha, in the Lok Sabha. But when we talk about the Congress is in the Karnataka. Congress has already did caste census. They already talking about in every corner of the country we will do caste census. But caste census report already had Karnataka government. Congress failed to do so on release. So either it is Congress or either it is Bharatiya Janata Party. They are just doing symbolic politics. They are not serious about the welfare of the our party. When we talking about the subaltern politics, subaltern party, so I think we can blame everything to Congress and BJP. There is कुछ कमियां इनमें भी है. You can check how many rally Mayawati did outside of the UP. You said that na कि Bahujana Samaj Party is the national party and third largest political party of India. But how much rally Mayawati did? You not even did one rally outside of the country, and you want to become PM. What happened in 2019 election in Lok Sabha? I'll think not is a qualitative manner in politics. I'll think is not in the quantity. Politics is all about chemistry and qualitative and quantitative both. When Samajwadi Party and Bahujana Samaj Party alliance in the 2019 elections. So there is, when we add the votes of that both party in 2019, there is vote class 44%, 45%, 46%. We are assuming that we are predicting that they will easily win 50 seats in the states. But what happened? They only managed to win 15 seats. Instead of 50 seats, they managed to win 15 seats. Why? You are totally based on the quantity, but you are not working on chemistry. Politics also happening in chemistry, not in quantity. So this alliance is also, this India bloc rally is going on. This is also just I seem like quantity when they are not going to capture. But right. We see the opinion poll of the CSDS, everything. So right. They are doing the same thing. But then the party has already different types of vote, public policy, welfare schemes, and their core voter already have. So BJP is leading.
Yeah, thank you, Krishna. Yeah, I think the most important point you have raised about the symbolic politics, I think the way social media had changed or influenced this whole symbolic politics in Indian election, either it's a Lok Sabha election or a state assembly election. I think symbolism is one of the most important tool to capture the voters' behavior and voters' mindset and consciousness. So we'll come to that. So I'll briefly go more theoretical sense of the perspective of Indian election. I'll ask Ganesh. Ganesh, how do you see, like you are conducting a ethnographic work in Odisha, and in Odisha, I think both assembly election and Lok Sabha election is parallelly going. So how do you see how this binary works on ground, especially? So
yeah, thank you for this generous introduction, and also for this enriching discussion that I will listen lots of things from the different panelists. And so, of course, there is a multiplicity you can find if you will coming to the ground. Despite if you will look through the national media and all this, there is a possibility of looking at binary, though there is already no non-binary factor is also looking at the national media, as Abhinav was saying rightly, that's the other kind of, ethnicity and others. Here, if you will come to here, even if you will compare the state or the regional politics within the state itself, you will find very different from the social media politics and the ground. That is the one thing, like when we are talking about this Hindu-Muslim binary is a great binary in Indian politics, particularly in the North Indian politics. Here you will find something distinctive, like when, of course, here is also this religious politics you can find, but let me give one example between these two political parties, the BJP, because this time I think BJP is more targeting to the eastern belt, particularly West Bengal, Odisha, and Assam, because they felt something they will be reducing their seat in the north belt. I mean, this is the political predictions of different political analysis, if I am not wrong, because I am not that much in political, I mean, election studies. Recently only I am very much deep into this because I'm part of this project Cost of Democracy and Campaign Finance with the University of Pennsylvania. Therefore, I am little bit coming to know about this very deeply. So since they are targeting to this 3 states to get more votes, earlier in here only, this regional party Biju Janata Dal, with whom they were talking for alliance, but finally they did not able to make this alliance. So here what they are doing, I mean, if you look the Biju Janata Dal, they are also doing religious politics by taking these local goddesses and these like Jagannath is a gods of the all Odisha, but they are not limiting themselves into the Hindu world. Also, they are taking this here, Sambalpur, there is Sambaleswari. They are constantly chanting the different kind of project they have been done. Not, I mean, before MCC only, they have completed this project. I mean, renovations of the temples, and they are also giving funds to the every village level goddesses and even goddess, I mean, tribal goddess. They are trying to build the temples for the tribals, because tribals, they usually worshipping through the tree and some kind of natural environment, but the Biju Janata Dal is trying to build some kind of temples and giving fund around 4 lakhs to each village for making these buildings. And this is not limited to the Adivasis, Dalits, and Hindus also. They are also giving funds to the mosque and the church for its renovation. Equally, they are distributing money, 4 lakhs to every village. So this is this religious politics that you will find something different here. And when the BJP, they are saying about this Ram, I mean, Jai Sri Ram and all this kind of slogan is very popular here. In the another side, you will find this local political narratives, the local religious political narratives. That is the one thing which will unpack the broader binary that we visible into the national media every day. We are looking around us. And along with this, you will find this there is something different which also become very important debate in the Indian politics after this electoral bonds. The earlier there was a debate, but that debate was not that much visible around the political science. I mean, there are one book has been written by Christoph Zappalot and Kanta Murali. This is an edited volume about this business political relationship. There is less work has been done on this, but now our project's main aim is to unpack these things, how business actually dominant politics or politics is dominant, how this relationship is ongoing. So here we are getting sense that there is a very deep relation. You will find most of the politicians, you will not find, I mean, you will find very less politicians, those who does not have any business setup, right? I mean, except this, I mean, Modi and all this, because, but he has very good or cordial relations with these businessmen. So how the time and this from the post 1980s, I can say the elections become more expensive as compared to earlier. Even the cap of the election has been raised. I mean, I think MLAs 45 lakhs and 95 lakhs for the MPs. It is the election commission, but you will find that if you our project is also working in Andhra Pradesh of this election assembly. There are 3 researchers. They are also working there, and according to their already election have been done. So they have estimated that one candidate, I forgot this name, he has spent 40 crores for his election. This is estimated. So see how much election become expensive, and even in national media, you will not find these kind of things, because we are expenditure of election become very high and high, and in the another side you will find the poverty is rising above. So if we will also, I mean, bring such kind of debates, but this is not exactly the debates that we will hear, because we are also more looking at this broader perspective of the election of very psephological sense here. But I can say that this kind of things also very important to in the debate for policy reform, to how can we reduce the expensive things and all this. Even the vote buying things, I think someone was telling the vote banks, when Tejaswini, I think, 3,000 something per vote or something. Here is also happening. So everywhere you will find the vote buying. It is not from only one party. You will find every party. And interesting things I found here is that when you will go to any political rally, there are mass numbers of people. Like when the star campaigners are coming and giving their speech, like Modi is coming and all. These same persons, who actually attending the rally, they are also attending the rallies of other parties. I mean, if you will go to the Congress party's rally, like Rahul Gandhi came, so you will also find the huge numbers of people will be there.
Right.
I got first surprised that how, because Congress is very less number of votes, but the crowd is high. But also the same people you will find in the Modis. And I do the very close, study here. So I asked people, so why are you coming here? Even they don't know who is Modi, and even they don't know who is Rahul Gandhi. But they are coming because they are getting some amount of money for coming and attending the rally. I mean, the entire election and the very idea of democratic values that we are in the election, you will find that there is very less democratic value in this electoral process. I mean, the meaning of democracy has become into the new arena. I mean, this illegal kind of things has been legitimized through this idea of democracy in this democratic festival that they are saying. In the name of democratic festival, they are legalizing and legitimizing such kind of activities, and they are the passive participants. They are participate in the election process and all. These are some things that is happening beyond this numerical system of politics that since we are in the past the post system election here, that the meaning of numbers, how the number is not that much important and also very much important for understanding the broader idea of democracy. So this is my first response. I will come later after the discussion.
Thank you, Ganesh. I think quite important point you have highlighted, the financial aspect of Indian election. I think that's very, very crucial aspect to look at more deeply as you closely observing this financial constellation on field. So I think we would be very interested to read the project output, which will, I think, we believe will I think that will publish in public. So we'll wish you very, very all the best for your project writings and the outputs. We are really looking forward to read that. So the last round of question, which I would like to ask Nikhil. Nikhil is just sitting behind me here only. So Nikhil, I think most of us what agreed on that the one is symbolism and the politics, the symbolic politics. And I think, and the way digital infrastructure has played the role, especially mobilizing voters or influencing voters, electorate. I think last two Lok Sabha election, whether it's 2014 or 2019, I think social media was one of the most crucial factor of which impact the election actually. So how do you see this binary when it comes to social media, using social media tools or influencing voters? Because if you look at the last couple of incident, I would say, for example, Modi has given this National Creative Award for the digital media influencer, like for Instagram and other YouTubers. So how do you see this whole politics of using digital infrastructure in the larger Indian election, whether it's into general election or assembly election? So what's your take on that? And how do you see this binary works there on social media? Because there's a different binary, as many of us pointed that there are layers within those binaries. So when it comes to social media platforms, do you think these binaries exist there, or there are other binaries you are looking there? So what kind of politics are going there, especially when it comes to digital infrastructure like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all? So what's your take?
Okay, thank you so much, Vidyasagar, for this initiative. So, as we know, social media has become the important part of modern day political communication. So, what is happening that every political party is nowadays using social media platform. If you take the comparative study from 2014 to 2024, when I see from the social media perspective, or from social media observer, is that there is the one creation of the new thing, that is the social media influencer. the social media influencer, but they are like they have lot of followers in their like any YouTube or any Facebook due to their credibility and due to a particular community. So like as you also already mentioned that Narendra Modi himself identified their potential. So like because they are relevant in particular field. So they have become the important because when you create some narrative, like when you are dealing with the two narrative like binaries, like Hindu Muslim binaries or like Congress or BJP binaries. I come from Delhi. Like when we here is the representation for I think all over India. So
Right.
I'm dealing with now Delhi or Punjab area. So you will see there are different type of narrative. That is farmers movement narrative here in India in general election 2024. The social media is influencing this public opinion of farmers in a very more incremental way. Now, for example, in Punjab or in Delhi, there is not a so much narrative of this Hindu Muslim like things. Okay, this is the things you will see how the social media is shaping the general election 2024. However, this is the real thing that social media is influencing Indian politics positively also, that more space is now given to the marginalized communities, like those social media influencer, they are gaining some economic benefit also. They come from the marginalized community. But there is also the challenge of deepfake, like what is happening recently, like the deepfake video viral of even Amit Shah, like deepfake video viral of the like reservation, he criticized reservation. Then he come in the public domain, he says, no, it's not, it's deepfake. So it's happening all over India. So that's in even World Economic Forum in its report also said that after climate change, the deepfake or fake news is the most immediate risk in India, not only in India, but all over the world. So yes, general election 2024 are like social media is shaping general election 2024 in more correct manner.
Right. Thank you, Nikhil. I think, yes, Bill, because I think social media is one of the most important issue which we will continue. I mean, we'll discuss this through this continuity of discussion. But the next question I wanted to ask with the whole panelists that the role of institution actually, because as we are one hand celebrating Indian democracy, which is based on the value of Indian constitution, the opposition largest party Congress saying Indian constitution is under danger or is it witnessing the threat from the Mediterranean politics, which is probably BJP. So looking the larger picture of Indian constitution and the Indian democracy and role of institution, especially Indian Election Commission. So I'll again begin with Tejaswini. So what do you think about and how do you see the Indian Election Commission, especially because I think from my own experience and conversation with people on ground, what I can feel that there is a very intended distant of institution from the larger electorate. For example, if you look at the previous election, you can find there was an aspiration within institution and also among electorate that yes, we are going to participate in Indian any kind of election. But this aspiration, this joy, this willingness to be part of democratic festival like election, it somehow seems missing in this election. So do you think election commission could be play a more better role this time, but they are not doing, or probably there are different reason behind that? So how do you see this role of institution, particularly in Indian Election Commission?
So what I feel about institutions as well as the election commission in general is, first, is it really an independent body is something we have to question. Every institution currently in the last 10 years, we have seen how institutions are being compromised at the cost of justice, and what we define as justice versus what the current government or the party in power defines as justice, or any party in power defines as justice. Second, the election commissioner or any person appointed at the central level or at the state level is someone who is already having a political affiliation. Unfortunately, in today's space, either it's a bureaucrat or an independent officer appointed for a certain democratic institution or a government institution already has decided their political affiliation. Now, this is where the problem is. So, I'll give you an example of Andhra. In the 2019 elections, for example, we've had an officer who was an IAS officer, but his affiliation was to the party in power, the current party in power. And there were multiple incidents of re-election that were required because of EVM damages and booth violence and all of that, but that was not reported directly or taken into account by the Chief Election Commission, despite reports and complaints and cases filed, and there was complete violence and even bloodshed around 2019 elections. This time it didn't happen, but last time there was that. But the election commissioner, the state election commissioner, did not take any action. Okay, so it is also dependent on which party is affiliated with which of the central parties, and what is the narrative they are trying to drive. And the key point here that I'm trying to say is even regional parties, for that matter, even if going beyond the binaries, for example, if you take a local party like Janasena, which tried to create its presence in Telangana but did not make much, so it is sort of restricted to Andhra now, run by actor Pawan Kalyan. But that is also a party that is struggling because it came into power based on communist ideology and religion and all of that. Sorry, not religion, just communism. But what happened over time is there is no space for them to survive as an alternative party. Now they have to either go with the BJP or go against the BJP, and that's even the main leaders struggle there. So regional parties which are coming out as alternatives to the two big national parties also are today struggling to take sides, and they are forced, in fact, either they are compelled to merge their parties. Like if you see, earlier Prajarajyam party, which was run by Pawan Kalyan's brother, that was the same fate the party met, because they again merged it with Congress in 2012 after the party came into existence in 2008. So this is something we see in terms of compromised institutions. Not just that, then there are cases, even for example, even in Andhra Pradesh, when Chandrababu Naidu was arrested, there the case was not proved. Basically, everything was violated. If you go from a legal perspective, there was no FIR registered. That was the first thing. So there were multiple violations legally also, but still he was put in jail for over 3 months. And there was no institution, even the High Court or the Supreme Court for that matter. The matter did not stand, and even for a bail, the case kept getting postponed because there was no strength in arguments, and as well as there was no legal strength to the case as such. So how independent are these institutions is a question, and most importantly, I think the problem is our audience, or the citizens in general, are not questioning the governments like they used to. So the citizen participation in a democracy has dropped drastically. I think, in fact, disappeared from the current political narrative.
Thank you, Tejaswini. I'll ask the rest of panelists, but be precise of answering, because I have a long list of questions. So, especially I'll ask Abhinav. Northeast is one of the most, I would say, contentious site of electoral politics, because the ethnic violence we are witnessing from Manipur, another northeastern part, and the way institution has been I would say, they played their role to probably neutralize those violence or those conflicts. And how do you see this relationship of the previous violence which we witnessed in Northeast and the ongoing national election? Do you find any relation with people who are going in dialogue with raising those questions when it comes to mobilizing, either it's come to regional parties there or the mainstream national parties. So how do you see this relationship there in Northeast?
If you permit me, I'd like to actually take over from where Tejaswi left
Yeah,
regarding
yeah,
the
please go. This is a very informal. Please go ahead.
regarding the role of the Election Commission of India. I think, see, the problem when we with the Election Commission of India is basically we talk about the model code of conduct, but at the end of the day, it remains a very weak form of control. It is as if the kind of the model code of conduct that we talk about, it is an instrument that actually does not have much stronger teeth. And this is perhaps the reason why it is not just during this tenure during the regime of the current government, but even in the past, right? We have often come across cases where there are very valid complaints and allegations where the functioning of the election commission seems to be in favor of the ruling party and quite biased against the existing opposition of that particular time. I think the reason behind it has to be looked can be found in the way these institutions are themselves structured. Now, on one hand, in the Election Commission of India, we call it a constitutional body. But when we look at the way the Election Commission itself is recruited, we find that there is an overwhelming precedence of the ruling party, the party in power. It exercises a disproportionate influence in the kind of recruitments that take place inside the Election Commission of India. So if you look at it, there is a structural reason why we see that time and again, these kind of institutions work in a lopsided manner, favoring those who are in power. If we are looking at complaints right now under the present government, it is not as if, however, that these kind of allegations have been raised for the first time. Today, we are talking about the ED as well, and we have seen that the Aam Aadmi Party has been actually made a party to the ongoing case, and this is the first time that the ED has actually attached a political party itself. Now, of course, there are allegations of wrongdoing against the Aam Aadmi Party, but at the same time, how far are these organizations probing people who are in power, people from the ruling party? So now, at the same time, now if we talk about the ED today functioning in a biased manner, we also can recall what the name that was attributed to the CBI during the time of the Congress, when it was called a caged parrot. So I think when we talk about institutions, we have to take a historical view that it is not as if that these institutions are working for a particular party in power right now, but time and again, these institutions have actually served their masters who happen to be in power at that particular point of time. And I think, like I said, the reason for this lies predominantly in the way these institutions are structured. This is a structure. There's a structural explanation for the way we find these institutions are performing. Now, going to what has happened in Manipur, or even when we witnessed violence during the Anti-Ka movement in Assam as well over the last 5 years. Again, if you look at it, institutions, the way institutions function, we cannot say that the institutions function in a normal way, because I come from a state called Assam, where during the 80s, when we were having the 6-year-long Assam agitation, it was basically a civil society movement, but it ended up claiming 855 martyrs. Now, 855 martyrs within a span of 6 years, who were not part of an insurgent underground movement, but were basically civil society political activists. So it shows the way institutions function to actually clamp down popular dissent. And this is exactly what is also happening in Manipur, where the allegation is that when on one hand, we expect institutions to act neutrally and act as a neutral umpire, but when institutions themselves become enmeshed in political projects of ideological actors, then what happens is that the very mandate of institutions acting as a neutral umpire is lost. Because, like I said, these institutions themselves become enmeshed in political projects and set out to serve ideological agendas. Otherwise, if you look at the way the conflict in Manipur has been continuously spiraling out of control, I'm sure that the might of the Indian state itself is at least as strong to have is strong enough to have been able to enforce order. But why does it repeatedly struggle? Because on one hand, the dominant side of the conflict in Manipur, that is the Métis side, is also the very side that happens to have the major part of the political apparatus of the state under their control. You look at Nagaland. While we are talking about elections, I don't know whether many people in the country know about it, but 6 districts in Nagaland are not even participating in these elections. And that is because, again, if you look at Nagaland, there are 3-4 districts like Mokokchung, Kohima, Tuensang, where a minority of the Naga tribes are actually holding onto administrative apparatuses at the cost of a majority of the Nagas who happen to be in the margins of the Naga state. So again, if you look at it, when these people themselves are part of institutions, you cannot expect institutions to perform in a neutral way. And that defeats the very liberal idea of the institutions that we have, that they have to function as neutral umpires in a state. So I think that is where the problem lies. And that is why I think these institutions fail in their mandate repeatedly.
Yeah, thank you, Abhinav, for such a detailed elaboration. I think, yeah, it's quite important. The state apparatus seems to be quite pro to the ideological apparatus. So कृष्णा, एक सवाल फिर से वही उठ रहा है क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि हम मतलब जो संवाद है हमारा दोनों भाषाओं में हो, क्योंकि बहुत सारे हमारे जो पार्टिसिपेंट है वो हिंदी के भी हैं। तो अगर जो आप सब में से कोई हिंदी में ही बात कर सके तो शायद हम दोनों लोगों तक पहुंच पाएंगे और अपने एनालिसिस को उन तक पहुंचा पाएंगे। अगर उत्तर भारत राजनीति को देखा जाए तो हाल के 3 दशकों से खासकर जो क्षेत्रीय पार्टियां हैं उनका दबदबा रहा, चाहे वो बहुजन समाज पार्टी का रहा हो, सपा का रहा हो, या जो दूसरी भी जो क्षेत्रीय पार्टियां, चाहे राष्ट्रीय जनता दल हो या जनता दल यूनाइटेड हो। तो पूरे उत्तर भारत राजनीति में एक तरीके से जो बाइनरी थी वो कहीं ना कहीं वो ब्रेक होके क्षेत्रीय पार्टियों पर जाके केंद्रित हो गई थी। लेकिन जिस तरीके से पिछले 2 लोकसभा चुनाव के बाद का जो एक परिदृश्य को देखिएगा आप, तो वहां पे क्षेत्रीय जो पार्टियां हैं वो क्षेत्रीय राजनीति तक ही सीमित नजर आती हैं। पहला, जब वो राष्ट्रीय जो चुनाव है या जो लोकसभा के जो आम चुनाव हैं उसमें उनके रोल जो है धीरे धीरे कम हो रहे हैं, उनकी बार्गेनिंग की जो भूमिका है वो कम होती जा रही है। और जो केंद्रीय पार्टियां हैं, जो मुख्य राजनीतिक दल जैसे भारतीय जनता पार्टी हो या कांग्रेस हो या इस तरह के जो और भी दल हैं, उनका दबदबा वो हेजुमनी जो है फिर से रिप्रोड्यूस हो रहा है। तो आप इस जो यह जो डायनेमिक चेंज हो रहा है खासकर उत्तर भारत में, उसको आप अगर आप संस्थानों की भूमिकाओं के नजरिए से देखिएगा तो कैसे, क्योंकि अगर अभी हाल फिलहाल में बहुत सारे राज्यों से यह रिपोर्ट आई है कि बहुत सारे जो कैंडिडेट थे जिन्होंने अपना नॉमिनेशन फाइल किया था वहां पे चुनाव में, उनकी नॉमिनेशन को रिजेक्ट कर दिया गया, किसी को ओथ के नाम पे, किसी को कुछ ना कुछ ऐसे जेन्युइन रीजन देके उनके नॉमिनेशन को रिजेक्ट कर दिया जा रहा है। खासकर आप बनारस में देखेंगे तो एक कैंडिडेट का नॉमिनेशन जो कि स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन था उसका नॉमिनेशन खारिज किया गया। ऐसे बहुत सारे राज्यों में हो रहा है जहां पे आप देखें कि मतलब बहुत ही चंद मिनट में पता चल रहा है कि वो जो कैंडिडेट है उसने अपना या तो नॉमिनेशन वापस ले लिया। तो कई राज्यों में ऐसे, जैसे सूरत का एग्जांपल देखेंगे, मध्य प्रदेश में देखेंगे। तो आप उत्तर भारत में खासकर जब राजनीति को देखते हैं, क्योंकि आपका काम उसके ऊपर रहा है, तो जो संवैधानिक संस्थान हैं जो भी हैं, चाहे वो चुनाव आयोग हो या दूसरी और भी जो संस्थान हैं, उनकी आप कैसे देखते हैं, उन इंस्टीट्यूशन को कैसे देखते हैं आप?
श्याम रंगीला जो पॉपुलर हुए पूरे कंट्री में, वो हुए बेसिकली मोदी की मिमिक्री से, ना कि अपना कोई उन्होंने इंडिविजुअल कुछ ऐसा पे बैक किया था। उनको बस एक एक्टिंग आती थी, वैसे एक्टिंग बहुत लोगों को आती है, और वो पॉपुलर हो गए मोदी की मिमिक्री से। लंबे समय के बाद वो गैप था कि पॉपुलरिटी वो पार नहीं पा रहे थे, तो उनको लगा कि शायद मोदी का गैप खड़े तो आप वहीं से हो सकते हो जहाँ पे आपकी लोकसभा है, वहां पे जाने की जरूरत है। तो फिर से पॉपुलरिटी पाना है, और फिर रिजेक्शन हो जाता है तो अपोजिशन कराता है कि भाई देखो डेमोक्रेसी खतरे में, मतलब कुछ भी हो जाता है डेमोक्रेसी खतरे में है। ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि इलेक्शन में सब सीरियस इलेक्शन लड़ने ही आते हैं, कुछ ड्रामा करने भी लोग आते हैं, ये भी बात सच है। उसमें श्याम रंगीला है। जाहिर सी बात है कि श्याम रंगीला बहुत कुछ ऐसा लॉयर और उस तरह का लेकर अगर फाइल करना तो 2-3 सेट ले लो पेपर, 2-3 सेट लेकर पेपर आप फाइल करो। जैसे हमारे एक सीरियस कैंडिडेट हैं समाजवादी पार्टी के अफजल अंसारी, उन्होंने यहाँ तक किया कि खुद फाइल किए नॉमिनेशन 2 से 3 सेट में, अपनी भतीजी का भी फाइल करा। अगर मैं रिजेक्ट हो गया गलती से या मेरे साथ प्रोपेगेंडा हो गया तो मेरी भतीजी खड़ी हो जाएगी। तो ये सीरियस नॉमिनेशन होता है इलेक्शन में। अब श्याम रंगीला को अगर हम सीरियस ले लें, नॉमिनेशन खारिज हो जाए, तो हम बोले कि डेमोक्रेसी खतरा में है, तब तो फिर वी आर चीटिंग, हम लोग खुद चीट कर रहे हैं डेमोक्रेसी। तो हमको रियली में समझना पड़ेगा कि डेमोक्रेसी है क्या बेसिकली। वोटर को वोट नहीं डालने दिया जा रहा है, वोटर तो वोट डाल रहा है ना। कौन ऐसा है कि जो कह सकता है कि मुझे वोट नहीं डालने दिया रहा, हम तो जा रहे हैं वोट डालने, हम पे कोई प्रेशर नहीं कर रहा है। सोशल डेमोक्रेसी उस तरह से भी पालन नहीं है कि जाकर बूथ कैप्चरिंग हो जा रही है। पहले हम जहाँ से आते हैं विद्यासागर, बक्सर के में बलिया का, बक्सर और बलिया में क्या है, एक नदी का डिफरेंस है। आप बिहार में हो, यूपी में है, वहाँ का हमको सोशल पॉलिटिकल डेमोग्राफी खूब बढ़िया पता है क्या होता था। तो बूथ कैप्चरिंग होती थी बहुत आसानी से। लेकिन अगर आप जब ईवीएम सिलेक्शन देखते हैं, तो हम कहाँ देखते हैं कि ईवीएम कैप्चरिंग हो गया। अब आप इलेक्शन हार जा रही हैं, जितनी भी रीजनल पॉलिटिकल पार्टी है, जो आप बात किए बसपा का, कि बसपा तीसरे नंबर की पार्टी थी। 2007 में ईवीएम सिलेक्शन होता है, ईवीएम से आप सरकार बनती है, तब आप ईवीएम में दोष नहीं था। 2012 में इलेक्शन होता है, तो भी आप 26% वोट पाते थे, 80 विधायक होते हैं, तो भी ईवीएम में दोष नहीं था। 2017 में इलेक्शन होता है, 22% वोट बैंक पाते हो और 19 विधायक, तब ईवीएम में खराबी आ जाती है। मतलब कि जब आप पा रहे होते हो उसी प्रोसेस से, तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन सेफ है, डेमोक्रेसी सेफ है, ईवीएम सेफ है, इलेक्शन कमीशन भी अच्छा है। और जब आप नहीं, आपको रिजल्ट मिल रहा है, बेसिकली आपको वोटर वोट नहीं कर रहा है, तो फिर आप ब्लेम गेम लगाते हो। तो जैसा हम देख रहे हैं ना कि सब कुछ सिक्के के दो पहलू नहीं है, उसका एक सिक्के का तीसरा पार्ट भी है जो कॉर्नर में होता है, तो वैसे भी होते हैं, सब कुछ ऐसा नहीं है। वर्किंग स्टाइल आप देखिए, तो वर्किंग स्टाइल आपका डिक्लाइन कर गया। मैं आपको बहुत ही एक बीएसपी के बारे में बहुत ही एक अच्छी चीज अच्छी चीज क्या बता रहा हूँ, एक ऐसा कुछ बता रहा हूँ जो मतलब लोगों को नहीं पता, बहुत ही एक अनफेथफुल है। लोगों को क्या लगा कि 2007 में बहुजन समाज पार्टी 206 सीट पाई और 30% वोट था, 31%, 30% वोट था। 2012 में बसपा की सरकार गिर गई और 206 से 80 विधायक हो गए और वोटिंग परसेंट 26% हो गया। ये एक पॉपुलर है कि लोगों ने ये कहा कि शायद बसपा को अपर कास्ट ने वोट नहीं किया, क्योंकि बीएसपी दलितों की पार्टी है, अपर कास्ट ने वोट नहीं किया था। और मुसलमानों ने वोट नहीं किया, क्योंकि मुसलमानों ने सपा को वोट कर दिया, इसलिए सपा की सरकार बन गई। मैं आपको सीएसडीएस का आंकड़ा बता रहा हूँ, उसमें हुआ क्या था। सीएसडीएस के आंकड़ा में 2007 में अपर कास्ट, ब्राह्मण, ठाकुर, बनिया, भूमियार का जितना वोट किए थे, उससे 1-2% अधिक 2012 में वोट, ठीक है। मुस्लिम मात्र 1% वोट किया था, 19% वोट किया था 2007 में, 18% वोट किया था 2012 में। ये वोट वैसा ही है जैसा पड़ा था 2007 में। वोट किसने नहीं किया, सबसे अधिक वोट नहीं किया था जिस कास्ट से खुद मायावती थी। 84% जाटो वोट किए थे 2007 में, 2012 में जाटो ने वोट किया मात्र 64%। ये सीएजीएस का डेटा है। और जो पॉपुलेशन 13%, 14% पॉपुलेशन हो और उसका 24%, 25% वोटर, मतलब 1/4 वोटर उस कम्युनिटी का मायावती को वोट नहीं करता पिछले इलेक्शन के कंपेरिजन में, आपका वोटर छोड़ देता है। और क्या है पॉपुलर फिगर कि इन्होंने तो वोट किया था, क्योंकि दलितों की पार्टी, दलित ने तो वोट किया ही है, बाकी लोगों ने वोट नहीं किया। लोअर ओबीसी जो बसपा का वोट होता था, लोअर ओबीसी मायावती छोड़ के चलाता है, डिक्लाइन हो गया उसमें, और वो वोट बीजेपी को उसको हो गया। एक और उसमें नरेशन है कि 2007 में जो वोट पड़ा था, वो वोट ब्राह्मणों के वोट देने से बसपा की सरकार बनी। Only 16% Brahmins voted for बहुजन समाज पार्टी in 2007 and 44% Brahmins voted for भारतीय जनता पार्टी in 2007 स्टेट असेंबली इलेक्शन ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश। मतलब 44% बीजेपी को वोट करते हैं, सरकार बीजेपी की नहीं बनी, लेकिन 16% ब्राह्मण वोट करता है बसपा को, और ये पॉपुलर एक फिगर है कि उन्होंने वोट किया। क्यों हुआ क्या था, टेक्निकली क्या हुआ था कि ब्राह्मणों ने बहुत ही टेक्निकली वोट किया था। जहां पे बसपा का प्रत्याशी था ब्राह्मण, उस ब्राह्मण प्रत्याशी को वोट किया था केवल, ना कि बसपा को। और पॉपुलर क्या होता है कि ब्राह्मण वोट किया था, और उस पर हमें कितना, अब लीडर्स की भी यह है कि लीडर्स को कितना असेसमेंट करना चाहिए, और लीडर्स का इतना ब्रेन वॉश किया गया कि अगर आपका तो ब्राह्मण वोट किया है, इसलिए अब आप इस नारे से स्विच होकर इस आइडियोलॉजी पा जाइए और पूरी पार्टी खत्म हो गई, ठीक है। तो हमको अपना कोर वोटर नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए। बीएसपी की जो दुर्दशा का जो सबसे बड़ा कारण है, वो है अपना कोर वोट छोड़ देना। और इस बार भी 2000 मतलब ऐसा, एक तो बीएसपी के डिक्लाइन का एक ये है रियल फैक्ट, मतलब जो चीजें हैं नहीं है, इस सारे चीजें डेटा में है अवेलेबल। तो और सेकंड क्वेश्चन क्या था, मैं आई फॉरगेट।
सेकंड सवाल था कि ये जो आप सिर्फ देख रहे हैं, उसमें ये जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, क्या उनका भी कोई रोल है? शायद आप देख पा रहे हैं, खासकर अगर आप ये जो क्षेत्रीय पार्टियां हैं, उनका रोल धीरे धीरे कम हो रहा है। जैसे उनके या तो जो उनके जो नेता हैं, जो उनके चेहरे हैं, वो या तो जैसे ईडी के डर से या सीबीआई के डर से या इस तरीके के संस्थानों के डर से वो जो मेन स्ट्रीम के रूलिंग पार्टी है उसको ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, जैसे बिहार में आप देख सकते हैं, या तमाम ऐसे कई जगह पे इस तरह की चीजें होती हैं। तो क्या ये संस्थानों की वजह से भी क्षेत्रीय पार्टियों को नुकसान हो रहा है? ये सवाल था मेरा।
इस पे मेरा दूसरा टेक है। मैं कहूँगा कि पावर का कैरेक्टर एक होता है। हमको तो ऐसा लगता है कि अगर हम में से भी कल कोई नेशनल पार्टी का प्रेसिडेंट बन जाए और हमारे हाथ में भी 300 MP हो, तो हम भी वही करेंगे जो आज ये कर रहे हैं। ऐसी कौन सी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी है जिसकी सरकार के अंदर चली है और मतलब आप वो काम नहीं किए जो आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी की है। बीजेपी बेटर प्ले कर रही है। रंगनाथ मिश्रा सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज थे और वो कांग्रेस से राज्यसभा जाते हैं। क्यों भेजा आपने? क्यों भेजा आपने? रंगनाथ मिश्रा सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज थे और वो कांग्रेस से राज्यसभा जाते हैं। आपने भी तो वही किया जो बीजेपी आज कर रही है। ऐसा क्या है? एक चीज और, हमको तो बीजेपी फिर भी फुल मेजोरिटी से सेंटर में है, और पीछे का क्या CID का हमको नहीं पता है, ठीक है, मुझे नहीं पता इसके बारे में। लेकिन कांग्रेस 2004 से लेकर 2014 तक की जो केंद्र सरकार चलाई है वो सपा बसपा जैसे रीजनल पार्टी के सहयोग से चलाई है। उस वक्त क्या था? उसी वक्त राहुल गांधी कह रहा हूँ, अखिलेश यादव के ऊपर CBI, मायावती के ऊपर CBI, लालू यादव के ऊपर CBI। मतलब ये तो वो भी है कि मतलब अब सरकार का जो पार्टी सहयोग कर रहा है उसी केंद्र सरकार के अंदर में जो भी ईडी CBI है कि नहीं है मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन इनके ऊपर है। अभी तो नहीं हो रहा है किसके ऊपर। मतलब एक तरफ हम ले भी रहे हैं सहयोग, दूसरी तरफ से हम उन पर ब्लेम गेम भी कर रहे हैं, या फिर जांच चल रही है, उनको घेराबंदी भी हो रही है। तो कांग्रेस मतलब नहीं होता कि आपने भी वही किया है जो आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी कर रही है, और पावर का कैरेक्टर एक होता है तो चल रहा है ऐसे। और मीडिया का जो सबसे पहला इंटरव्यू था अर्नब गोस्वामी को राहुल गांधी का जो लॉन्चिंग हुआ था, अर्नब गोस्वामी को राहुल गांधी ने अपना मीडिया किया था। आज वही अर्नब गोस्वामी तब पावर में थे क्योंकि राहुल गांधी और कांग्रेस, तो आप उनके पीछे थे, आज मोदी जी के पीछे। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि सब कुछ पावर है, कुछ पत्रकार भी तो पीछे जा रहे हैं। अब आम काट के खाते हैं कि आम चूस के खाते हैं, ये क्वेश्चन कौन करता है? तो मीडिया को भी ऑनेस्ट होना पड़ेगा कि रियलिटी में आप ऑनेस्ट हो कि नहीं हो। अब हम कहें कि सब सरकार गलती है, तो सरकार तो थोड़ा करेगी हमसे ये पूछो कि आम चूस के खाते काट के खाते हो। तो ये सब चीजें हैं। मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि एवरीथिंग इज नॉट ऑनेस्ट, सब कोई ऑनेस्ट नहीं है।
राइट। थैंक यू कृष्णा। रवि, आप हिंदी में बात कर सकते हैं। तो मैं आंसर बहुत प्रिसाइज एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूँ अपने पैनल से, क्योंकि सवाल हमारे काफी हैं। तो इस बात का ध्यान रखें प्लीज। तो रवि, सवाल ये है आपसे कि चूंकि आप जनसुराज से जुड़े हुए हैं, आईपेक के साथ आपने काफी लंबा टाइम बिताया है, बहुत सारे राज्यों में उनके चुनाव का जो उनका कैंपेनिंग रहा उसके पार्ट रहे हैं आप। तो जनसुराज का आप इम्पैक्ट कैसे देखते हैं बिहार के चुनाव में, खासकर चाहे वो विधानसभा का चुनाव हो या लोकसभा के इतर जो भी चुनाव हो रहे हैं? क्योंकि एक नैरेटिव ये बनाया जा रहा है कि जनसुराज यानी जो खासकर जो प्रशांत किशोर जी की जो पार्टी है, एक ऑल्टरनेटिव पार्टी के तौर पे उभर रही है, जिसका जो शायद उस कास्ट बाइनरी से, उस क्लास बाइनरी से ऊपर है, और डेवलपमेंट उनका एक जो है एक हॉलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट स्टेट का, चूंकि बिहार में माइग्रेशन बहुत ज्यादा है। तो आप प्रशांत किशोर की जो भी स्पीच है या उनको सुनिएगा बात करते हुए, हम जैसे हम लोग सुनते हैं जब, तो उनका पूरे डिबेट में वो कहीं पे वो जाति की वर्ग की बात से बहुत परे उठ के वो चीजों को देखते हैं। तो जनसुराज में आपके काम करने का, और जमीन पे क्या, जमीन पे भी लोग ऐसे क्या अपने उस जातिगत पहचान से ऊपर उठ के आ रहे हैं, और जो ये विकास का कि बिहार को हमें बहुत ही एक श्रेष्ठ राज्य बनाना है, यहाँ फैक्ट्री हो, यहाँ पे अच्छे अस्पताल हो, ये सारी जो खासकर प्रशांत किशोर बार बार अपने जो भी उनकी जो भी दौरा होता है, जो भी अपनी बात रखते हैं उसमें कहते हैं। तो जनसुराज में जुड़ने का के साथ काम करने का आपका क्या अनुभव? ग्राउंड पे लोग क्या सही में इस पे मोबिलाइज हो रहे हैं?
विद्यासागर, जनसुराज को जब पिछले 2022 के मई से शुरुआत हुई और 2 अक्टूबर 2022 को पदयात्रा शुरू हुआ, उसके बाद हम लोग करीब 17 जिले घूम चुके हैं पैदल, मतलब वॉक करते हुए। और ये पदयात्रा उस तरह से नहीं है कि जो हाईवे के जरिए गए हों। हम लोग मोस्टली गाँव गाँव जाते हैं। हमारे जो रूट जो बनाते हैं हम लोग यात्रा को लेकर के, वो यात्रा के रूट भी उन गाँव से गुजरते हैं जो ज्यादा से ज्यादा पॉपुलेटेड हो, डेंसली पॉपुलेशन हो। कभी कभार होता है कि बहुत इनएक्सेसिबल है, दोबारा करना पड़ेगा, इसलिए कभी छोड़ते हैं, लेकिन 70% ऑफ दी पंचायत हम लोग कवर कर रहे हैं। हमारे सभी जो कैंप में जो भाषण हो रहे हैं, सभाएं जो हो रही है, या रास्ते में जो हम लोग स्ट्रीट कॉर्नर मीटिंग बोलते हैं, जो सड़क किनारे जो हमारी सभाएं हो रही है पदयात्रा के दौरान, वहां भी ऐसा कोई भी सभा नहीं होगा जहाँ पे एक समय के बाद 1000 से कम लोग आ रहे हैं। कई बार ऐसा है कि पूरे के पूरे गांव के लोग उठ करके आते हैं, बात सुनते हैं, अपनी बात कहते भी हैं। प्रशांत के आने से पहले भी जब हमारे जो बाकी वॉलंटियर्स हैं और जो पदयात्रा के जो साथी हैं, वो सब लोग उनके जरिए एक संवाद स्थापित करने का प्रयास करते हैं। पहला कि उनका ही समस्याओं को सुनते हैं कि आप लोग बताइए कि आप लोग किन चीजों से जूझ रहे हैं। तो किसी ने कोई आकर के ये नहीं कहता कि मेरे जात का नेता नहीं बना है या हमारा विधायक मेरी जात का नहीं है। सबने आकर के अपनी समस्याओं को इस तरह रखा कि मेरा वोटर कार्ड नहीं बना है, या राशन कार्ड नहीं बना है, या मेरी सड़कें नहीं बनी है, बिजली नहीं है, या हमारे बच्चे के लिए एजुकेशन नहीं मिला है, या अस्पताल यहाँ पे नहीं है। ज्यादातर जो महिलाएं हैं, जो माँ है, उन सब लोग का एक सबसे बड़ा तकलीफ है, उनके बच्चे हमेशा बाहर रहते हैं। कई ऐसी महिलाएं आके मिलती हैं जिनके बच्चे कभी बाहर वापस आ ही नहीं पाए, मतलब वापस नहीं आ पाए। वो लोग किसी समय कोविड में बाहर रह गए, कमा रहे थे। किसी एक बुजुर्ग महिला आके रोती हुई बोली थी कि उसका डेड बॉडी भी वापस नहीं आ पाया, कि द मदर कांट इवन सी हर डेड बॉडी ऑफ द सन। तो जमीन पे देखेंगे तो लोग, जाति की बात कभी किसी ने नहीं किया करके, कभी किसी ने ये नहीं कहा कि मेरे धर्म का बात। ये तो एक पॉलिटिकल नैरेटिव्स जो बनाते हैं, और इतनी बड़ी मैकेनिज्म, मीडिया, सोशल मीडिया, और टू मोर एक्सटेंट द पॉलिटिकल कंसल्टेंट्स जो हम लोग हैं, उन सब मिलकर के एक सिस्टम को क्रिएट कर दिया है। और वो फीड इतना स्ट्रांग है कि आपको बार बार एक ही चीज दिखाते रहेंगे तो वो चीजें ही आपके दिमाग में आ जाती है। और जो भी हमारा जो मैकेनिज्म है, कभी भी वो बॉटम से आपकी तरफ नहीं है, मैसेजिंग सिर्फ टॉप से बॉटम की तरफ जा रहा है। जो पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स जो बात बोल रहे हैं वही बातें बार बार उन तक पहुंचती है। वो क्या बोल रहे हैं वो रेयरली कभी ऊपर आता है, या किन्हीं ने जाके कवर करने का प्रयास किया है, या फिर उनके बारे में लार्जली बात किया जाता है। तो जनसुराज एक प्रयास वही है कि उन सबकी मुद्दों को और उनकी समस्याओं को एक जगह जमा किया जाए, उनको एक कोलेट करके हम लोग कुछ एक सॉल्यूशन की तरफ लाएं, ब्लूप्रिंट बनाएं। जैसे आपको एक छोटी सी जानकारी देना चाहूंगा कि हम लोग, हमारी जो इनसाइट्स की टीम होती है, वो यात्रा शुरू होने से पहले ही जिलों में जाती है, बड़ी टीम, मोस्टली यंग प्रोफेशनल्स फ्रॉम अच्छे यूनिवर्सिटी जो भी देश के हैं, वहां से पढ़े लोग सब आते हैं। और वो सब लोग जाकर के गांव गांव में लोगों से बात करके उनकी समस्याओं को सुनना, पूरा एक पंचायत मैप करना, गांव मैप करना, रिसोर्स मैपिंग करते हैं, डेमोग्राफी मैपिंग हो जाती है। और उन सब की बात समझ में आता है कि कौन से मुद्दे हैं जो प्रायोरिटी बेसिस पे सॉल्व करने की जरूरत है। यहाँ पे पंचायत स्तर पे हम लोग मैनिफेस्टो तैयार कर रहे हैं। तो इन सब में कहीं आपको ये नहीं दिखेगा कि किसी ने जाति धर्म का बात किया है। सबकी समस्याएं यही है कि उनकी जो अपनी व्यक्तिगत मुद्दे हैं उनको सुना जाए, उनको एड्रेस किया जाए। इसका पुराना अनुभव भी आईपैक में रहते हुए हमारे पास है। जब लोग बंगाल में जब कैंपेन कर रहे थे, तो दीदी के बोलो एक कैंपेन चली थी, और दुआरे सरकार एक कैंपेन, फिर उसके सॉल्यूशन में एक दुआरे सरकार कैंपेन लाए थे हम लोग। तो हम लोग 2 करोड़ प्रॉब्लम्स को एड्रेस किया गया था अपनी टीम के जरिए और सरकार के साथ सहयोग कर मिल करके। तो यहाँ बिहार में भी अभी जो समस्याएं हैं, मोस्टली सब अपने बारे में बात करते हैं, सब चाहते हैं उनकी समस्याओं को सॉल्व किया जाए। लेकिन जो नया जो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम जो डेवलप हुआ है, जो जिसमें कि रिप्रेजेंटेटिव डेमोक्रेसी जो कमजोर हो रही है, कि लोग 10 लाख से ज्यादा वोटरों पे एक एमपी चुन रहे हैं हम लोग। अब वो एमपी जो 10 लाख लोगों के लिए ज्यादा अकाउंटेबल हो सकता है, ज्यादा आंसरेबल हो सकता है। लेकिन हम लोग की जो जो नई बाइनरी जो बन रही है एट द टॉप ऑफ द पावर, कि 2 लोग हैं, उनमें से कौन से प्रधानमंत्री बनेंगे और उन दोनों में से कौन से मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे। तो लोगों के पास जो उनकी अपनी शक्ति है कंट्रोल करने का, अकाउंटेबल बनाने का, वो लूज हो रहा है। पॉलिटिशियंस आज भी ये मान रहे हैं कि किसी पार्टी से जो पार्टी डोमिनेंट है उसकी टिकट हम ले आएंगे तो हम चुनाव जीत जाएंगे। उन्हें ये नहीं लग रहा है कि जनता हमें हरा सकती है या हमें जिता सकती है, कि दे आर नॉट आंसरेबल टू दियर रियल मास्टर्स। तो एक बार जनसुराज का ही प्रयास है कि इन बातों को समझाएं इनको, कि अपने वोट की कीमत समझिए। आप सिर्फ 5 किलो अनाज में वोट नहीं दे सकते हैं, 500 रुपये में वोट नहीं दे सकते हैं। एक स्टेट का जो बजट है बिहार का, करीब 1,60,000 करोड़ का बजट है, आप किसी को 500 रुपये लेकर के नहीं दे सकते हैं। तो जब ये बातें लोगों को समझ में आने लगेगी धीरे धीरे करके, मे बी सोशल चेंज तो एक बहुत स्लो प्रोसेस है, वक्त लगेगा काफी, जो हमारा अपना अनुभव रहा उसके हिसाब से भी मे बी थोड़ा बहुत बदलाव आए।
Thank you, Ravi. Again, I do request to panelists be precise. We have a long list to answer. So please, Ganesh, the question I would like to ask within the framework of institutions and their role in elections. And so many of us highlighted the model code of conduct, and as you're looking very closely to the finance politics and the financial resource to the electoral parties. So where ethics actually lies, don't you think this is a very heteronormative sort of idea of the ethics when it comes to democracy and the other associated things? So because I think the financialization of election, the way finance has been mobilized through different channels, and nobody is talking about those things which is happening behind these rallies and everything.
Yeah.
So
So there is already, I told you, there is a cap in this, which is for the member of parliament, I think 95 lakhs. They can be, I mean, expense spent in their election. But I'll give one example. There is a gossip going here. This MP candidate or this Union Higher Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, his budget is around 200 crores. I mean, this is his budget. I'm getting these sources from a very reliable source, actually. I'm thinking still. So, and I have already told that in Andhra Pradesh, there are crores of rupees are going. Also, in this time, you will find there are different news in the local media. Also in the national media, I think, that there are flying squad team has been set by the election commission, where you'll find everyday news. Recently, 2-3 news I got here that 500 crores has been seized from one MP candidate. 500 crores. Just imagine what kind of money they are seizing. I mean, this is the party fund, or whether the MLAs or the MPs fund, that is the individual. That is a different case. So this is also going, and sometimes this election commission able to find. But another interesting story or some anecdote I would like to highlight here, like when you are talking about the institutions, take the examples of this institution of bureaucracy, which is very prevalent in Odisha, particularly. I don't know of the other states, since that how government machinery working for the political rallies and everything. Like I will give one example. Here only 2 cases found. One of these, there is a IS officer who retired, but now he is a full-time political worker, the second star pracharak of Biju Janata Dal. His name is VK Pandian. His wife run this women group called Mission Shakti, through which BJD actually trying to mobilize. So BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party filed a complaint against his wife that is using the government machinery. So Election Commission of India transferred her from that Mission Shakti secretary to the another branch. So these are the cases where also sometimes Election Commission is taking, but not in the very prominent way. And there are lots of things going which Election Commission also unable to get. The another paradox of these institutions vigilant over this kind of activities, illegal activities. I'll give one anecdote from my own experience in the 2022 Panchayat election, where there is a police van came to my village. I was in the middle of the night. So when the police van came, the opposition parties were distributing money. I mean, the one party who is not coming from the ruling party of the state. So they left their village, but after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, a person came out from that police van, and he belongs to the ruling party's candidates, close associate, and he come out from that van and distributing money. So see how the government, I mean, through the police van, because they are controlled under the government, this police officers. So how even the presiding officer, another anecdote I will give. These are the some, I mean, field work kind of ethnographic data, since all other panelists are talking about more on the broader sense. So I am trying to bring some grounds data. Another anecdote I will give, that Krishna Mohan was saying about the booth capturing during the ballot system, but now you will also find something. In a village, the last election only, I have witnessed one thing, that in that village, there are lots of voters whose name are there, but they have already died, and some voters, they are not in that village. They are absent because they are migrated from somewhere else. So they are unable to come around 50 to 60. We can take one example like 50 to 60. So what the local leaders did, they gave some amount of money to the presiding officer of this booth, and that presiding officer allowed to cast the vote in EVM on behalf of these people, those who are already dead. See the same. I mean, dead people's votes. I mean, we used to say this as a ghost vote. Therefore, this is the term that I am trying to bill in my also here, ghost vote and ghost beneficiary. How the ghost votes, because it has been already converted. Therefore, I am using this as a ghost votes. So how you can also find in the EVM? EVM is not I mean the system where you will not find these illegal activities. And another thing that since our project is we are comparing between Indonesia and India, Indonesia is also the same country where you will find this vote buying, excessive vote buying. Therefore, there is one civil society, legal civil society group, those who are demanding to do vote buying as illegal vote buying. So, I mean, there this kind of narrative also proposing in there. I mean, this is a civil society group, which will only be facilitate to the rich people if the vote buying will be legalized. So ethics is not exactly visible in the politics, as you know, the Machiavellian sense, also in the broader political sense, also in the ground level. And the voters also, they will take money from the every party. I mean, they will receive money from Congress, they will receive from BJD and BJP and other party, those local candidate also, whoever will be able to give them money. But there will be definitely different amount of money. So even in the ethics, you will not find in the voter sides. But also you will find something that voters will, we most of the time someone was mentioning about that, taking murga and something and giving votes. That is seems like this is a very prominently relevant kind of things towards the poor voters in India because of the illiteracy. And this is the this is a narrative that is right. But I am saying that this is not the full understanding of the vote buying. Why? Let me give one example. We are usually consider that poor voters are taking money and cast their vote and also through this liquor and some kind of feast. But here I am witnessing that there are urban middle class educated voters who have been invited to the grand feast. They are calling it as a party. Like I can give this example that S. Jaisankar, this external affairs minister who came here in Sambalpur for campaigning. So they organized a grand meeting at a very rich hotel, and they told that a person who organized this meeting, he is a club member, and I don't think he has money amount of also to 20 lakhs totals. But they have been told that this person organized for us. Definitely, this money has given by the candidate to that small person. So see how in the broader level, openly there. Of course, there is no expenditure of money in the party side. Election Commission also said that there is no limitations for the party, but only limitations for the candidate. That's I know. But when we are saying there is a narrative is setting in the popular debates that poor voters are only taking money and casting their vote, it's false. I think they also the urban middle class and the educated voters. So education, I don't think is very only way up to eradicate this. This is something, this integrity and ethics is far beyond than this degree of education and all this. So this is my response, I think.
Right. Yeah, I think, yeah, the integrity and ethics lies, it's a very contextual debate. So, and especially in the age of social media and digital politics, ethics is quite contextual, very blurred. So being an expert in social media and campaigning politics, Nikhil, where do you see the ethics? आप हिंदी में ही बता सकते हैं।
तो अब हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं हम। तो सोशल मीडिया बेसिकली जब हम बात करते हैं भारत की राजनीति में, तो यदि हम इसकी शुरुआत भारत में करें तो जो 2014 का जब चुनाव हुआ, तो यही भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो जब आपका क्वेश्चन था, जो मूलभूत क्वेश्चन था कि ये शुरुआत में कि ये क्या ये डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यू को कमजोर कर रहा है ये चुनाव या कम हुआ है। ओके, तो 2014 का जब चुनाव था तो उस समय इंडिया अगेंस्ट करप्शन मूवमेंट 2011 और आम आदमी पार्टी का जो ओरिजिन है वो ये माना जाता है कि बहुत हद तक उसमें सोशल मीडिया का योगदान है भारत में। और जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की हिंदुत्व का विचारधारा है वो भी कहीं ना कहीं फील्ड जो संगठन आरएसएस चलता है उसने ग्राउंड पे, और बाद में सोशल मीडिया ने उसको आगे बढ़ा, इंक्रीमेंटल चेंज लाने में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है, जिसको हम या उस जैसे मैनुअल कैसेल, फिलिप होवार्ड या दूसरे लोग बोलते हैं कि हिंदुत्व इको चैम्बर एक तरीके से बन गया। ओके, तो वो सोशल मीडिया ने महत्वपूर्ण उसमें भूमिका निभाई है। ये 2014 का समय था जब सभी लोगों को स्पेस दिया जा रहा था। लेकिन जब हम 2024 की बात करते हैं तो जो सोशल मीडिया का स्पेयर है उसमें रेगुलेशन ज्यादा आ गए। ये हमें देखना पड़ेगा। ये इंटरमीडिएट एक्ट आता है 2018 में। हालांकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने प्रसिद्ध श्रेया सिंगल वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया केस 2015 सेक्शन 66 से ओपिनियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को हटा दिया कि आप कोई भी व्यक्ति चाहे तो किसी भी पर्टिकुलर मंत्री पार्टी की आलोचना कर सकता है। लेकिन सरकार अगर कोई भी सोशल मीडिया पोस्ट किसी व्यक्ति के बारे में डालता है, अभी केरला के मुख्यमंत्री के बारे में डाल रही है पोस्ट, या अमित शाह के बारे में, या हमने देखा कि किसी ने योगी की आदित्यनाथ के सरकारी स्कूलों की आलोचना की, खाना कैसा बना है, तो उसको जेल में डाल दिया जाता है। या केरला में भी या बंगाल में भी हर जगह ऐसा हो रहा है। तो जो एक सोशल मीडिया को ये देखा गया था कि फोर्थ वे ऑफ डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन, जैसा फिलिप ओवर्ड बोलता है कि ये फोर्थ वे ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी लेके आएगा, कहीं ना कहीं ये ऐसा हो रहा है कि ये जो ऑलरेडी इंस्टीट्यूशंस जो कंट्रोल कर रही है, जैसा अभिनव ने बताया, उन्हें बताया गणेश ने, तो ये और उसको बढ़ावा देते हैं। जो स्टेट कंट्रोल है, स्टेट रेगुलेशन है, तो फिर बाद में कोर्ट जुडिशरी आगे आती है जो उनको प्रोटेक्शन करती है। हाल ही में जो सोशल मीडिया इंटरमीडिएट है या सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स है, या जैसे ध्रुव राठी, या जिनको हम मेगा सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर बोलते हैं, तो उनके ऊपर सरकार ने कंट्रोल करने का प्रयास करने के लिए अभी रूल लाने का प्रयास किया, हम नया ड्राफ्ट बनाने का प्रयास किया, लेकिन जब आलोचना हुई तो उसको विड्रॉ कर लिया। लेकिन बात ये देखनी पड़ेगी हमें कि जब चुनाव 2024 का चुनाव जीत के आती है कोई भी सरकार, तो वो इसको लेके क्या स्कोप रहेगा। मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि अगर 2024 का चुनाव एनडीए जीतता है, बीजेपी जीतती है, तो वो और सख्त रूल रेगुलेशन इसको लेके आएगी। और कांग्रेस और इंडिया अलायंस जीतता है तो जैसा 2014 से पहला होता था, ये मेरा ऑब्जर्वेशन है क्योंकि मेरा पीएचडी इसी से जुड़ा हुआ था, सोशल मीडिया पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ आप, बीजेपी और कांग्रेस। तो उनका मैंने रूल रेगुलेशन उनकी जर्नी पूरी कवर की थी। तो अभी तक मेरा मानना है कि ये नैरेटिव अभी चल रहा है और ये चलता है।
परफेक्ट। तो मतलब आपको ये लगता है कि सोशल मीडिया पे कंट्रोल शायद स्टेट का ज्यादा और बढ़ेगा अगर गवर्नमेंट वो रिपीट होती है तो। ओके, सो we have last 30 minutes and this is the final round of question, and as we are in the middle of in election, so because other phase are still to be happen, so it's very a hypothetical question for all of you who are joining us today. There are two categorical question I would like to ask. The first, though we don't believe in the prediction of election results, I mean, we don't do that job here, especially in discussion at the margin. But you, most of you are engaged with the different electoral analysis, and especially some of you are still on the ground to looking the politics there and observing there from the ground. So I would like to ask Tejaswini, because this is most regional based question I would like to ask. So all of you who are quite cope up with the different state views and perspective. So Tejaswini, could you tell us something? What is the I don't want to use that word prediction, I would say, but what's we can experience probably in from June 4th onward. The government is going to repeat the ruling government at the central level, and like what's your prediction so far observing the phases of voting, especially in southern states? And the second question I would like to ask, what is difference you find, especially observing the last two previous Lok Sabha election with reference to this election? So these are the three questions I would like to be addressed by you. So
yeah, so I've been evading this question for a while now. But going by, I can talk about Andhra and Telangana, and then I'll come to center because that's related to what is happening in the south. So currently, if you see in Andhra, the voter turnout was one of the highest so far, which is 81.86%. And Telangana, because this is the Lok Sabha election, it was not as interesting or as high voltage as Andhra has. Going by the relationship between the voter turnout and usual results, Andhra doesn't fit into that segment, because usually it is predicted and understood to be anti-incumbency when there's a high voter turnout. However, last time also, 2019 also, there was a similar voter turnout, not this high, but there were voters who stood till 12, 1 a.m. in the night and to vote and stuff. So going by that, Andhra remains unpredictable even now because there is still a very large percentage of voters who strongly believe that welfare measures of the current YSRCP government have worked really well. Also, many of the times, I can talk about Andhra and Telangana, the deciding vote as well as the larger part of India, the deciding factor is never the ones who understand politics as such from a very ground level, and it is always driven by the rural voters, or the segment that is mostly taking the benefits of welfare schemes, or gets the welfare schemes. So it is mostly to do with probably TDP this time winning it, is what is the prediction in Andhra right now. But Telangana, we have Congress, but there is a understanding that BJP may take a larger share of Lok Sabha seats. And relating this to the central voting pattern within Andhra, Telangana, if you take 2019, for example, the decision was very clear with a larger part of people, voters, in voting for BJP at the center level. Okay, in voters. Whereas if you look at 2024, there is a second thought about why not Congress or any other alternative, or even Nota for that matter. So there is this younger generation that feels that they do not connect with any of the national parties or the regional parties, and there is a constant discontent in the younger generation who also prefer Nota compared to any other option on the EVM. So I feel this time there is at least a voice apart from the dominant party currently, and that is seen in South election also, because in Telangana Congress came to power as well as Karnataka. So I think South, because it has 120 MP seats, that's BJP's target, not the regional governments as such. So all that the party needs is South, the 120 seats it's targeting, and I think that target is for the next election, not for this election. This election they are testing it, they are playing it safe, and they are also trying to make allies who work with them, or merge their parties with the BJP through their own strategies and tactics. But the target for South for BJP is 2029.
Not to know. Yeah.
Thank you, Tejaswini. Abhinav, what do you think? So, in the middle of the binaries of hope and despair, where do you locate Indian election 2024? What's your prediction?
They are also predicting. Their institution used to predict the things. Yes, am I right?
Yeah, that's what I do. It's of course like difficult, and then the ECI guidelines are also such that you cannot actually make any kind of exit poll predictions as well. But anyways, I'll play it safe. But see, there are 24 seats in total in the Northeast. To just set a context, in 2019, the BJP had won 14 out of those 24 seats, and the Congress had won 4. Now, like I said, I would not actually give out a number, but what I'll say is that look at the victory of margin in many of these seats, which would give us an idea of the kind of vote swing that would be required for these seats to actually change hands. Now, out of those 24 seats, it is important to note that there are 9 seats that the BJP had won last time around with a margin of more than 1 lakh votes. That's something that I want the audience to keep in mind. Apart from that, there are 3 more additional seats that the BJP had won last time with a margin of 50,000 and more. So at least for the first set of seats, if you look at it, the kind of vote, the kind of swing that the Congress or any principal opposition party would have to have in its favor is substantially large. The question, therefore, is that do we see such kind of a groundswell that would actually make such kind of a swing in turn possible? At least in Assam and in a lot of the other states like Tripura, for that matter, I think I don't see such kind of a groundswell that would actually trigger such kind of a large swing. Number one. Second is there are these other northeastern states, for that matter, Nagaland and Meghalaya, where of course the BJP is a non-entity out there, but then there are a lot of regional players, and the regional players are very strong. Now, what should be noted is that there is a high likelihood that many of these regional players, they would also end up reinforcing the NDA's strength in the Northeast. Look at Nagaland, for that matter. Now, Nagaland is a state which made headlines in 2023 because it became oppositionless. So basically, you have a very weak and divided Congress on one side, and all of the other parties are actually part of the same governing coalition. So it's one of those rare examples in Indian politics of a state legislature which does not actually have a working opposition. Now, in Nagaland, it's not the BJP who is contesting, but it's the NDPP. And because it is likely to be a clear, the verdict is already out in Nagaland, we could assume that. So that state is actually going with the NDA. Similarly, if you look at Meghalaya, again, the BJP is not contesting, but in its place, you have a smaller regional party called the NPP, which has a very good prospect, at least in one seat. Right? So, but where one of the other states which would be actually very interesting and which can tell us a lot about the ongoing conflict, the ethnic conflict as well, is Manipur. Now, Manipur, look at it, we have 2 seats. So there is outer Manipur and then there is inner Manipur. Now, inner Manipur voted for the BJP last time. Now, that would be a seat to watch out because it could tell us a lot about the way the government actually dilly-dallied in the recent ethnic conflict. Now, also, I think we should take note of the fact that the Congress has put up Bimal Okhaijam, who is a JNU professor. Many of us have been taught by him, of course. So he's the Congress candidate in Inner Manipur. Now, the question that arises is that if there is, because the kind of conflict that played out is basically Kuki versus Meitei, right? So in the Inner Manipur seat, which is like a Meitei-dominated constituency, if there is a Meitei consolidation that has happened because of the conflict, that would actually lead the BJP to win, despite however unpleasant and however dangerous the conflict was, it can actually lead to a BJP victory. Because the Meiteis and the Kukis are at loggerheads, and the state administration is still held by the Meiteis. But if the Meiteis actually decide to censure the BJP, then we can see a Congress victory, and Congress would actually gain a seat out there. The other seat, that is Outer Manipur, is a seat which is dominated by tribals, the Kuki tribals, who are predominantly Christian. Now look at this again, look at the way regional parties in the Northeast are behaving since 2014. Out there, all of these small regional parties, many of them which are predominantly Christian, are actually putting up a joint fight against the Congress. And if they manage to clinch that seat, it will be difficult. That is again indirectly through the back door, it would be reinforcing the NDA. So in that way, like I said, the BJP, I feel, would be retaining its dominant position. In Assam, I don't see it making new gains. It won 9 out of the 14 seats in Assam. So maybe it will be continuing to hold on to those 19 seats with delimitation. And that's something that I wanted to speak about as well. So after 1976, this is the first time that constituencies in Assam have been redrawn. Now we have constituencies like Borbora, which went to the Congress last time, but the way the constituencies have been redrawn, and that's gerrymandering, a constituency which had a 70% minority population has been reduced to a minority population of just 30%, right? So in that way, I think these are factors, like I said, alliance, the social coalitions that these alliances have helped the BJP to achieve, the Congress's continuing organizational troubles, and delimitation in Assam, which is like the biggest state in the Northeast. What it would do, according to me, is that it would not allow BJP to achieve any major new gains, but likely I feel Northeast is seeing a status quo or largely a repeat of 2019, with the Congress making a few minor gains, bettering its 2019 tally by a few more seats. That is how I look at it. I'm not disclosing a number, but of course, Ganesh and all of you, when we meet, I'll
Yes, yes,
give
true,
my
true.
numbers.
So,
Yeah.
thank you, Abhinav. Ravi, क्या लगता है? How do you see the prediction and the difference?
या इसमें क्या है कि अभी दो चीज है, एक तो पहले बिहार की बात कर ले या फिर ओवरऑल इंडिया, तो प्रिडिक्शन तो नॉट वेरी क्लियर कि क्या होगा, देयर इज नो सच मैकेनिज्म एट ऑल, बट भाजपा की सीटें इस बार डेफिनेटली लास्ट इलेक्शन से दे विल गो डाउन, एज वी कैन सी मोदी वेव पहले की तरह नहीं है अभी। जो खासकर जो मैं बहुत सारी महिलाओं से बात किया हूँ, जो हाउस होल्ड वुमेन, वो लोग सब वोट नहीं कर रहे हैं मोस्टली जस्ट इन नेम ऑफ मोदी और भाजपा ऑल्दो राम मंदिर इज देयर, बट स्टिल इट्स नॉट सच अ बिग इशू कि इसके बिहाफ पे लोग वोट कर दे कि राम मंदिर बना है इसके लिए लोग वोट कर देंगे, वो भी कम दिख रहा है। और जो अपोजिशन का, जो इंडिया अलायंस का जो कैंपेन है, वो भी थोड़ा कॉन्सोलिडेट हुआ है, मच बेटर देन बिफोर, तो ये लोग कुछ सीटें यहाँ पे ऑब्वियसली गेन कर रहे हैं। तो बीजेपी विल बी लेस देन 300। बिहार में आएंगे हम लोग तो उनका अपने जो इंटरनल एनालिसिस है, आई एम लिकिंग इट आउट, 32 सीट्स का वो लोग अपना खुद अनुमान लगा रहे हैं बीजेपी एनडीए अलायंस इन बिहार, बट आई थिंक इट विल बी लिटिल बिट लेस देन 32, नियर अबाउट 30, 10 सीट्स एटलीस्ट इंडिया अलायंस माइट गेन, और उसमें से ज्यादातर जो सीटें हैं वो जेडीयू लूज कर रही है यहाँ पे। This is all from my side. Hello.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. So same question to Krishna, is quite close to the data and the empirical fact. So Krishna, where do you see where we are moving ahead in the middle of hope and despair? For whom the celebration is?
I really relied on the CSDS. So what is CSDS saying? This is my opinion. Because as for me, I always in my study, in paper writings and thesis writings, I always quote CSDS. So CSDS is predicting for the NDA. So my prediction is also for NDA. But despite, I can say some another facts. What happened in farmer movement? Farmer movement happened in 20 in the lockdown phase, and farmer is mostly from the northeast belt is Jat dominated, and after that farmer movement, if you found in elections, state assembly election of the Uttar Pradesh, Jat voted more BJP after Jat agitation or farmer movement. In the 2017, 38% Jat voted for the Bharatiya Janata Party in Uttar Pradesh in state assembly election. After 2022, where Samajwadi Party and Jan Chaudhary allied for the UP assembly, but 54% Jat voted. So why Jan Chaudhary left? This is the bigger key. Jat even not accepting the leadership, you can say that, or not fixed in the. They are Hinduite. Popularly, you can say it. After movement, they are with BJP and they are voting, going in the favor of Bharatiya Janata Party. And same in the, you can say that the other states, same thing is happening. So there is no any impact of the farmer movement. This time I am also seeing. So this is the one fact, and you can ask any other question.
Thank you, Krishna. And Ganesh, as assembly election and the Lok Sabha election is going both parallelly in Odisha. So so far, what you can see from the ground, people are going towards.
Yeah, I'll say, I mean, Odisha's case is very different, and the area where I am doing, I mean, Western Odisha. Last time also they did split vote despite the election is going simultaneously. Here I mean, near this constituency Bargat, there is MP who won from BJP, and the entire 7 constituencies, the MLA won from BJD, around of the margin of 40,000, 30,000 votes, 2-3 MLAs. But BJP MP won and MLAs of other parties won. So there is split voting here. And this time also, as I told you, there is a talk going on for the alliance. So this gossip, and this is also, I mean, there is lots of seat. I also, this is speculation that they have been arranged, like the opposition party given the ticket to a very loose candidate against the BJP, particularly. They tried, I mean, they indirectly fixed the seat kind of things, which I'm speculating, like they are giving a member of parliament seat for the BJP and legislative for BJD. And people's also, their mindset is also like this, because we have experience in the last 2009 election, 19 election also, that the split voting was there. But the one thing I would like to say about the difference, that during that time, there was a great Modi wave. You will find, particularly in my region, also another. I am not that much familiar with the other, but here, Odisha. But this time, despite Modi is coming continuously to Odisha for campaigning, but there is no Modi waves as such, like the jingoism and nationalism was there in the last wave. But this time, that is not visible much. This time, visible, that is something different kind of issues, like the basic issues. So I'll say this, but let's see what's the result coming after June 4th. We can directly know.
Yeah, we'll come to that. Nikhil, what's your take on prediction where this election is going to end?
Okay, so my prediction, I don't predict anything.
No,
so,
we are
but,
not prediction
okay.
means so far you have observed the election
Okay.
and phasing. So
Kind of speculation you have already,
Yes.
because
Okay, so
think-
when I'm talking, I will discuss the 3 states. Like for example, Delhi, Punjab, and Haryana. There are about 31 states in these 3 states, the union territory. So last time BJP won 19, but this time I see it's losing maximum seats. Haryana, I don't think any. Maybe, it's gaining, only winning out maybe single digit.
Right.
Yeah, only single digit this time. Because in Haryana there is farmers movement issue going on. You will see a lot of defeat. In Delhi there is a Arvind Kejriwal is back. So the narrative of like jail ka jawab, vote se narrative. And in Punjab you will hardly see. Last time Punjab BJP won 2 seats, but it will hardly be won by anyone. Now the Aam Aadmi Party or Indian National Congress will win this time in Punjab, and same in Haryana. And but the thing is that जब आप बात करते हैं जो 20 सीट यहाँ से हार रही है या 15 आप मान के चलो, जो हम अभी जैसे तेजस्विनी ने बताया कि तेलंगाना में हो सकता है वो अच्छा करेगी, 4 सीट थी वो 10 तक भी आ सकती है जो मैं सुनने में आ रहा है, या उड़ीसा में या बंगाल में या उड़ीसा में हो सकता है वो लार्जेस्ट पार्टी भी बने। या अभिनव ने जैसा बोला नॉर्थ ईस्ट में 24 में से लास्ट टाइम 20 सीट जीता इंडिया अलायंस, सॉरी एनडीए अलायंस, तो वो उसको मेंटेन रख सकती है। लेकिन जब हम बात करते हैं वेस्टर्न इंडिया की, जिसमें आपका गुजरात, राजस्थान या मध्य प्रदेश सेंट्रल भी आता है, तो 75 में से जब डायरेक्ट फाइट होती है कांग्रेस और बीजेपी की, तो 90% स्ट्राइक रेट बीजेपी का रहता है, वो सिंगल डिजिट कांग्रेस का रहता है। तो मैं यहाँ पे ये बाइनरी जो है कि जब बीजेपी और कांग्रेस की डायरेक्ट फाइट होती है तो कांग्रेस आती है, लेकिन जब रीजनल पार्टीज की बात आती है तो रीजनल पार्टी चैलेंज करती है उसको, और ऐसा हमें देखने को मिल रहा है आंध्रा में, उड़ीसा में या इसमें भी। सो इन माय व्हाट आई थिंक इज दैट इट्स नॉट 370 तो है बिल्कुल नहीं, बट इट विल बी क्लोज टू मेजॉरिटी.
Okay.
Yes.
It will be close to the majority, and that's the statement he made. So let's see. 4th June onward, we will come back with the final round of discussion. We hope the panelists will be able to join us again with the whether this binary has been retained or this binary has been more tousled and puzzled. So we'll see probably post-election results onward. And at this note, we have one question, and there's a one hello from Vineet. Hello, Vineet, Jai Bhim. And there's a question, Ravindranath Mahto. He's raising that why does it become important to project a face for a PM? In this election, India Alliance has been continuously attacked by a question of having not a face for PM from the ruling party side. This also bothers me. Why it's not as simple as that? Definitely out of 5 MPs, one will head the government, but it should be matter of later. Why do we decide before that this particular man would be ever rest all of the elected MPs? If it is decided before, how does it lack the weightage of consensus among elected candidates for choosing their leader? So Tejaswini, you would like to respond?
Yeah, so I have two perspectives on it. So the first thing is, I think one, it is driven by a certain party on the need for a face. In this case, it is by BJP because BJP projects their PM candidate very clearly because of the propaganda built around Modi. Whereas look at the same BJP in Telangana. Okay. Last time it was very clear that until before Congress got into the assembly election race and won the election, BJP was the opposition party. There was nowhere Congress in the race. So at that point, there was no face for a CM in BJP. Whereas the same BJP at the central level questions India Alliance on who their PM faces. So that is a question that always causes confusion, and it is also to confuse voters on the need for a CM face. A PM face. Second, when you don't declare a PM face, there is a lot of discontent around who the candidate is. Is this candidate worthy enough to be a leader who can rule a country like ours? Because we have different cultures, ethnicities, and different representations from across India. So I think the primary aspect is to show Rahul Gandhi as a weaker candidate than Modi. I think we have to try and understand the narrative, than see who the PM candidate is, what the narrative drives versus who the leader is. And of course, it today, if you consider the current digital world and driven by social media and all the information around that we are bombarded with, it is very clear that a propaganda builds a leader's image and not the leader's capability. So I think what he asked is a very right question, and this is not something that is there in a common voter today because a common voter doesn't think so much. So it is just propaganda and the narrative that the PR wants to drive politically.
Thank you, Tejaswini. I hope, Ravindra, you got your answer. And as we are quite close to 5:59 p.m. and we have to end the discussion for today. And so again, on behalf of Speaking from Margin Collective, I would like to extend sincere thanks to our panelists, Tejaswini, Krishna, Abhinav, Ravi, Ganesh, Nikhil, and people who joined, especially a participant. We will upload the lecture on YouTube and our different forums for the larger audience. And definitely will come with the final episode once the election result has been announced, post June, 4th June onward, probably. And we hope you all will be able to join again. And again, more precise construction of binaries and beyond binaries we can see. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time and continuous support to our collective. Again, on behalf of Margin team, I would like to extend a warm thank you and sincerity for joining us. And we hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vidyasagar. You have moderated the session really well,
Oh,
and it
thank
made
you.
a conducive like discussion. Thank you so much. I'll be seeing you guys later.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good
See you,
day.
Yeah.
Tejaswini. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, bye.